I really should have been able to piece together the fact that because, shows like AGT are on like Tuesday or whatever, or maybe a new episode of Chopped. Yeah, I watched Chopped too. Nothing goes on Wednesday, to my knowledge. I mean, yeah, I guess there's Guys Grocery Games, and MasterChef is really the kind of show where if you don't start from the first episode onward, you're going to miss something. So, yeah. Honestly, it's fine. Honestly, you need a good hump day can end, a nice, quiet evening alone. That's cool. Not really, certainly not bothered by it. And plus, now we're well past halfway through the week, I can finally say, good morning and happy Thursday, everyone. So, yes, we are at Thursday. It is June 6th. It is day 522. Yes, I really have been trying to keep count because of the whole... Seriously, like, the last week and a half, for whatever reason, I've been messing up my days. I have no idea why. Maybe because, like, deep down, I really want it to be day 550 already so I can reveal to you what the main course on my full course menu is. But, then again, to actually come to think of it, by telling you when I'm going to reveal it anyway, I probably ruined the fun of the challenge I gave you guys. But I'd still like to know if any of you guys could figure it out. I mean, think about it, you do get bragging rights. And I will personally invite you to the location of where I'm going to be filming that video. I mean, it's going to be early in the morning, most likely. And, it's going to be 4th of July, so it's very possible you may already have a conflicting schedule. But, think of it as a high-risk, high-reward type thing, I guess. Especially if you are able to get it right. I mean, again... If you don't want to end up not making any guesses, I'm cool with it. Honestly, it's something I really want. I mean, this isn't a hint or anything, so don't even think of this as a hint. But the places where you can get this particular item are places where I've been meaning to talk about them forever. Like... I almost wanted to wait until day 1000 to do it, but by that point, you all would have forgotten what I was talking about by then. Plus, I am going to give you guys hints as, days go on, so there's that. Although, fun fact, one clue I have coming up, I will dedicate to all the ladies out there. So, yeah. Try wrapping your brain around what it might be now. So, again, in terms of what's going on like this week, I hear that Dark Phoenix really isn't getting very good reviews, which is unfortunate. I'm probably not really going to see a movie this evening. I'm just going to, stay in, get ready for the weekend. It's going to be nice. It should be a fairly solid weekend overall. Actually, I would look up the weather, but the very object I would use to look up the weather, I'm using right now to make this video. So, yep, still making videos over the phone. I mean, millions of people were doing that before it was cool, but, at least I'm consistent, right? Man, why am I feeling, why is this acting all like somber and emotional? I really don't feel that way at all. I feel, pretty good. We got a nice, decent rest, worked out a little bit this morning, feeling pretty fresh right now. Though you gotta have that obligatory yawn, for just because. You talk about this sort of stuff. I jinxed myself, is what it is. I don't know why. It just sort of happens. I mean, I don't mean to do it on purpose either. Like, the yawn was completely involuntary. So there you go on that. Well, as per every Thursday, we get a new episode of Hot Ones, and as I said yesterday, the new guest is going to be Halle Berry. Cannot wait for that. Although, I am curious as to what questions that Sean Evans is going to ask her. Although, I mean, I do consider myself a bit of a movie, not expert, but movie trivia person, I suppose. And the same year that, and no kidding, the same year that Halle Berry won a Razzie, she also won an Oscar. And for those of you guys don't know, a Razzie is essentially the exact opposite of an Oscar. It is an award for being in a bad movie. See, Razzie is shortened for raspberry, which raspberry is classical. Outside of being the delicious fruit that we all know and love, I hope. I mean, I love raspberries. I like raspberries a lot. Although they do spoil really easily. I noticed that in the refrigerator. And seriously, if ever I do get raspberries, they always tend to, spoil really easily. And I don't think a vacuum sealer would work either because, it would probably, smush the raspberries, and we don't want that. But now I'm getting sidetracked. See, the raspberry is the sound you make when it's... That's basically supposed to be the sound of a raspberry. Although, instead of somehow forming metallic molds that would make this face, they just make the statue a giant raspberry. Actually, you know what? I take that back. It wasn't the same year that Halle Berry won her Oscar. It was Halle Berry won her Razzie, and she took her Oscar with her and actually made a speech saying, "I want to thank Warner Brothers for putting me in this movie," as she was holding up the Oscar she won for Monsters Ball. I never saw Monsters Ball, but I know that, she won an Oscar for it. There's actually a lot of classic movies I haven't seen. Maybe I should do a video series about that. That'd be an interesting take on what I do. I mean, it definitely would give me much more content. And it would certainly be very much entertaining. I'll think about it. I mean, there are some movies that I would talk about again just because I've seen them over and over. Pretty obvious. I've talked about a lot of movies over the years, even before, over the course of doing these videos, even before, I started doing movie reactions. So, talking about movies that, I do like are nothing new, and that would be a pretty good series on its own. Although, if you guys have any movie suggestions that you don't think that I have seen, I'll go for it. Although, here's the thing, and I do want to be very serious about this. I really am a fraidy cat. I do not do horror at all. I just don't. So if you're going to suggest movies like The Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Friday the 13th, I don't think I'll be interested unless I maybe see it with, the right crowd or the right audience, I suppose. That's not entirely true. I have seen horror movies before. Way back when I started doing movies, I did Overlord. I saw that movie. That was, I guess you could call it historical horror, I suppose, because, it's sort of a World War II fiction type thing. That works. Pretty much any kid who grew up in the 90s and the early 2000s has seen the Brendan Fraser Mummy movies, although they're more action than scary. Although I was terrified at the beginning as to how they were being turned to mummies. That was pretty gruesome for me. I did see Saw 1 and Saw 2. I saw those two movies. Those were pretty, again, they were I mean, the first two Saw movies, I would say, are probably consistently the best. I mean, it's pretty clear that they would get worse over time, and to be honest, I thought they would just end after Saw 2, but when you make like 7 movies, you know, it follows that triangle of good, fast, and cheap. And while there's definitely some money being put into these movies, the fact that into the Saw movies, the fact that they were coming out yearly signifies that if they're going to be made good, fast, and if they're going to be made cheap, they're not going to be good. Actually, it's the same sort of controversy that Dragon Ball Super had a while back, but that's neither here nor there. So, yeah. Maybe I should consider doing some of that. I mean, the other day I finally saw Mission Impossible Fallout. That was a movie unfortunately, again, that project I did last year was so stupid. I am never doing that ever again, folks. Never doing that to me, and I'm never doing that to any of you. So, never again. I mean, unfortunately, it is never forget, but at least I know better than never do it again. So, there's that. Yeah. And unfortunately, seriously, that project just ruined so much of everything I wanted to do. Missed Mission Impossible Fallout. Missed a couple of reunions. I missed my cousin's birthday. It was my baby cousin, Hudson. And technically, what makes... at first glance, doesn't really sound that significant because, I mean, yeah, family's great. I mean, family's great and everything, but it's your baby cousin from like your second cousin or something or whatever. So what's significant about that? Well, I mean, I've told this story before, but you know, I guess it does bear repeating, and you'll see why momentarily. If you were to meet my mother and if you were to ask her how far apart my brother and I were born, she would say 20 months apart. Well, his birthday is April 13th, 1988. My birthday is December 28th, 1989. So one day I got bored and, you know, I decided to do the math for it. And if it was Price is Right rules, she actually was right. Specifically, it's 20 months and 15 days. Or 2 weeks and 1 day, if you want to be really technical. So, my cousin, who, you know, was pregnant with Hudson, already had her son Eli. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if that exact same amount apart that my brother and I would be what, you know, my cousin's 2 children are? So, out of the blue, I made my guess of September 25th. Not even realizing that my math was very much off. In fact, if my math was right, Hudson would have been born on October 23rd. But, unfortunately, I already made my prediction. So, we can't take it back. And this is the kicker. On September 25th, they had to induce labor. So I ended up being right anyway. I could not make something as lucky as that happen again, even if I tried. Like, that's not just getting lightning in a bottle. That's getting lightning in a bottle and then putting that bottle in one of those carnival games where, you know, you have all the bottles and you have to toss a ring on it. And you toss a ring on that very bottle. Like, that's how lucky I was. Well, I guess as my father would so eloquently put it, I'd rather be lucky than good. Although, I do like being good. And I like to think that one good thing I do every day is make videos for all of you. So like, favorite, share, hit that subscribe button, follow me on the social media platforms. I'm humbled I made this video for all of you guys to watch and enjoy for today. I am hoping we all have a wonderful Thursday. Get ready to watch some hot ones. Seriously, I can't wait for it to be 11 o'clock today. And remember, if any of you guys ever want to talk or chat, I'm always going to be here to lend an ear, and I'll always have your back. Take care, and make good choices.